Joining me now is the Phenom Tom Pagliarulo, who will be taking on Elijah Harris next in the main event at Combat Zone 88, coming up in just a couple of short weeks now, May 31st, right around the corner. Tom, camp is pretty much done and behind you now, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Couple little shake up towards the end of it, but nothing I'm not used to. So just ready to get in there and compete.
Yeah, you were originally slated to face Chuko Willis. How different is that, right? To spend like your whole camp getting ready for one guy, and then you get kind of this curveball thrown at you last minute. How different of opponent is this guy?
Um, Not too different actually. I think the game plan is pretty similar. It's just a different body type. But I don't obsess too much on like the body type I'm fighting in the gym. I'm with all different body types and types of training partners, but I'm getting the looks I need. I'm ready to go in there and just be the best version of myself. That was the plan for Chuka, and it's going to be the same for Elijah. So let's go in there and be the better mixed martial artist.
Is it discouraging to get Elijah versus Chuka? I mean, Chuka, I think better record, maybe some more notable wins under his belt. Like, is that kind of stink for you? To get a win over Chuka versus Elijah or vice versa?
Man, I I had those thoughts a little bit at first. Like I was fired up for that fight with Chuka. It was a big test. I think it was a test I was going to pass, and I think I don't look too far ahead though. What it either could do for me. Uh, you know, Rob Rob always tells me like the name doesn't matter. You just go do your job. You know what I mean? You treat them both the same because they are the same. So I'm not too concerned about what prize either one has to offer me. I'm just concerned about going in there competing and being the best version of myself.
And I did see that this will be a catchweight bout at 160 pounds. How did
Yeah.
that come into play? And I mean, it must be nice, right? You don't have to cut all that extra weight down to 145.
Yeah, that was his idea. He said, I'll do it if we can do it at 160." So, I mean, we're both featherweights. I know he fought pretty recent. I think he fought last weekend. So props to him, I guess, for taking a quick turnaround. And I get not wanting to make the cut again, but man, I thought we would have done like 55 or something at least, but 160, man, I'll take it, easier time for me. And I'm already in shape. I was already planning to make my way down to 50, so I'm right on target for 160 easy.
Do you think that maybe like in his mind, he thinks fighting you at a higher weight class gives him more of a chance in this one? Do you think that's a thought that's going on in his head, or does it matter?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't think it's gonna play a role either way. I think maybe he just doesn't want to cut weight, and
Mhm.
I think that's more of it. I think he just fought at 145 this past weekend, and he doesn't want to do it again for next week, which I get. But to me, I don't know. That's a little chink in the armor, I guess, a little bit in the sense of like it's already showing me some cards a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you're looking for something easier, right? And 160 is easy. So we'll see. We'll see what he brings.
What do you weigh today?
I'm in like the mid 60s right now, so it'll be very, very easy. I'm not having to diet too crazy. I don't walk around much heavier than 66, 170, so I'm right there. I'm
So
good
you
to
could pretty
go.
much eat whatever you want here over this next week.
Yeah, I don't want to be. See, that's the mistake that I know these guys do is they're like, oh, I don't have to cut much weight, and they start eating shit and they eat whatever they want. But I'm eating the same as I was planning to if I was fighting at 45 or 50. The types of foods, I'm just eating more in quantity. You adjust the ratios a little bit. I still got to go perform. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be stuffing my face with a bunch of shit. But I'm just eating more quantity of food and feeling good, ready to go.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to like always talk about the pressure to win for its
Mhm.
upcoming fight, but like for you, Tom, it's even more important now with your record. I feel like, and I texted you this, off, this interview here, but like I think you're on the doorstep of fighting for a contender series, and I think that's really like right in your near future if you do get another big win or two. Like, do you feel that pressure? Is that something that you're thinking about, and the importance of not just to win but to dominate?
No, not really. I don't obsess over the idea so much anymore of like I'm the UFC fight, UFC this, UFC that. I feel like it became like an identity at one point of like that was all I was living for, and it made me not enjoy fighting as much. My love is competing, right? And obviously I want to be in the UFC really bad. It's like everything I've worked for, but I'm just I don't feel that pressure as much anymore. It's like it's kind of freeing. You know, even my last fight with Don, everyone was like, "Oh, you need to beat this guy. Like that's huge." And I just didn't feel that. For me, it was just another moment to compete. And like I said, I try and treat all these guys the same, man. And next week it's gonna be no different. You know, I'm gonna go in there. I don't take him lightly. I don't care about. They all get the same treatment. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go in there and just perform my best and focus on what I can do. And I think that's always gonna be enough.
Okay, understood. What one last question just about, Contender Series
Yeah.
UFC. If you were a betting man and you could put odds on it, like if you win this fight, do you think the chances of you fighting for Contender Series next is greater than like a 50%? Like, do you expect that to be right around the corner for you?
Yeah, I mean, for sure it's possible. I know that's already like booked. You know, we were kind of waiting on that. That's kind of why it took a little bit to get a fight. We were kind of waiting to see like if I was gonna get put in. I know my name is there. I've talked to my manager about it, and so I think they've already booked the season, but guys fall out all the time, so I could definitely get called in. And it could be a short note. I know for a fact my name has been put in for and talked about for a few short notice UFC fights that happened this past month. That there's a few I thought we were actually gonna get, and just didn't end up working out, but I was ready for. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. Like I'm just ready to go whenever, you know. Like even my fight with Chuka that was scheduled, like that came out of nowhere too, really. Like I was ready to go, and I think that was like 3 weeks notice kind of thing. Like, hey, let's fight this dude. So I'm just that's where I'm at, man. I'm in the gym all the time. You can overthink these fight camps. Like I do the same damn thing every day, and have been doing it like that for like the past 5 years. So I'm kind of just ready to go. And so after this, yeah, it could be short notice UFC call, it could be contender series, could be whatever. But I will tell you, I do think whether it's UFC or not, this will probably be my last time in a long time fighting around here. I gotta get out of here. There's not much here for me. It's a hard time to get a fight here. I gotta go be the B side or something. I gotta go get on the road. I gotta go just to grow myself. You know what I mean? I gotta go get these fights. Like I was trying to fight a guy like Chuki. You know, I think maybe it makes it a little more appealing for these guys if I'm coming to them. You know, I'm down to be that guy. So I do think I got to handle business next week, and regardless, I'm hitting the road next. You know.
Okay, yeah, understood. It sounds like just based on everything you just said that you could bypass Contender Series and just go straight into the UFC. That's a high possibility. But if that doesn't happen next, maybe going out to the West Coast and fighting for like an LFA, like one of those big time promotions where, like you were saying, you could be the B side, get a huge win, and then kind of cement yourself as that next level guy.
Yeah, 100%. LFA, Cage Fury, any promotion really doesn't have to be one of the major ones. Just any promotion that's not around here. I'm not going to be the guy selling all the tickets and relying on someone to come to me. Like, I just got to go get out of New England, I think. And, you know, most of my fights have been against guys not from New England, but it's been banking on them coming here. And that's a tough thing. And it's good to get out of the comfort zone. I honestly think I perform even better when I'm kind of in the enemy territory and in that B side role. So, yeah, I'm just obviously focused on next week, but I do think maybe this is my last time fighting for like a combat zone or Cage Titans.
Okay. Well, the New England fans better soak it up then if this is the last time they're going to see you here regionally for a little while. Obviously, Tom, the last time that we did speak was before you got the big win over Don Shainis, winning the Cage Titans title. Just recap that for me real quick, man. Obviously, you went in there, you got it done in the first round. Like how gratifying was that? Was that the signature moment of your MMA career so far?
Yeah, that one felt pretty good. I think I don't know. In my head, I know I could always do that, but I think I had to like really do it to believe it. You know what I mean? I did think it was going to be a little like tougher to get him out of there. I thought I knew I could stop him. I knew I was going to stop him, but I really thought like, man, he's going to drag me into the deep water a little bit, get to the third, fourth. But I don't know, man. I felt on top of the world in there. I kind of figured out my system, my process that I need to go through on fight day and in my warm up and stuff, and just where I need to be mentally in that cage. And I think I found it that night. And you know, once we touched gloves and got to it, I knew like, oh, this is coming faster than I anticipated. So yeah, felt good to get a win over a guy like that. You know, it's you can look at his past fights and look at some of the guys that dude's beat. He's beating some really good guys, and he's gone the distance with some really good guys. So it feels good to go in there and do that to him. I mean, he even messaged me after the fight and was like, "You're the first person who's hit me," and I felt like that. You know, he's like, I haven't felt like that from anyone before. So it just feels good. You know, I like the guy. No hard feelings against him. it was just the challenge I needed and the test I needed, and I got it done.
Obviously, I mean, you probably have a really good idea as to where you're at, anyways, day to day with going against guys like Calvin and Rob and Connor and all these killers that you train with. But like to go in there and to beat someone like Don, who did fight in the UFC. Granted, he didn't have the best run in the UFC, but he made it there, and he, showed that he's a high level fighter, right? That's got to give you a boatload of confidence.
Yeah, for sure. It's like as far as experience goes on the regional scene, you're not really going to find too many other guys, that you're going to fight with that kind of experience. So yeah, it was just, Calvin texted me right after I went and got my phone in the locker room, and he just texted me, "I'm not surprised." I remember going, "I am." I was a little surprised. Like, I think that's been the big growth for me is just having confidence in myself and kind of believing the guys around me. My coach Tyson had said to me right after that fight, like, "I hope you realize how good you are now." You left me a little letter and everything in the Airbnb saying that, and I'm kind of starting to believe that. You know what I mean? I've always kind of, I still do it. You get the doubts when you get a fight. You're like, "Oh, what if this happens or that?" But I'm pretty good on fight night about like just locking in. But yeah, I think I could actually, do pretty well in this thing and make it pretty far. I'm starting to see the proof in my work. So yeah, that one felt real good.
It's awesome, man. Well, good for you. Congrats on the big win there. Life like since then. What have you been doing? Have you been building any bikes? I know you're a busy guy with all the things you got going on. What have you been up to?
Man, it's just been. I was in the gym Monday after that fight, and I was the first one in there washing the mats and just getting ready to get back to it. I had some teammates fight, and then I was helping out. And I'm pretty bad at giving myself breaks. I got to be better about that after this fight. I always got like these nagging injuries. Even with Don, I went into there with like a bunch of injuries, banged up and shit, and I'm always kind of dinged up a bit. So I gotta like tone down. I can be in the gym, but I gotta tone it down somehow because I'm always just redlining, it seems like. But yeah, not much, man. Just training. I had a little pause around uh beginning of March. I kind of had a little health scare type thing where I was having some like neck pains and stuff after training in my throat. So I went and got a check by my doctor. They did a ultrasound and they actually found a mass in my neck. So that scared the shit out of me. And they wanted me to do some MRIs and stuff. And um, it was like 3 weeks. They messed up my first MRI. They're like, "Oh, the mass is bigger than we thought, but we can't tell what it is because we messed it up." So I had to go do it again. It ended up just being this like I got like a birth defect where my veins are kind of all messed up
Hmm.
in my neck, but it can look like a mass on a scan. So, your head goes to worst case scenario when you hear those things and it scares the shit out of you. So honestly, man, like that in itself, like that little pause, maybe it was everything happens for a reason, is the way I think. And it just showed me like there are bigger things than fighting. It's made fighting a little less scary. Like that was the most scared I've ever felt in my life. And it was kind of a little reality check, like, hey, like chase this thing, enjoy it, but life can change like that, and you gotta just appreciate every day you got. So yeah, dealt with that and got right back to training when I could, and yeah, just a little different perspective, I guess, now when I show up to the gym and go into these fights, a little more grateful for it and a little more freeing, I guess. You realize it really isn't the biggest thing in the world. Your health is and your family and stuff like that. So yeah, other than that, it's just been training.
Wow, man. Yeah, that would be very scary. So it was a birth defect. That's all that it was. There was nothing else whatsoever.
No, it was called they call it like a vascular malfunction. So it's pretty much your veins can form like a knot, and they don't show up sometimes until like later in life. But like I guess it's from birth, but sometimes they can grow a little bit. So there are some like I gotta like monitor and stuff and just keep an eye on it over time. But you start thinking like cancer and stuff when you hear you got a mass in there, and it's scary when your doctor tells you like, hey, I can't tell you it's not. You know what I mean? Because we gotta rule it all out and stuff. But it's just a scary process to go through. You know what I mean? And things like this are going to come up as and we get older and stuff like that. But yeah, I was definitely, I was definitely terrified, man. Health stuff. I'm used to being like the healthiest guy ever, and all of a sudden you start thinking about those possibilities. Like the whole time I was just like, how, like
Hmm.
I take care of myself so well. How could something like this be happening? But thank God it was nothing too serious, and yeah, just maybe I needed that little different outlook on life and yeah, just really grateful for having good health and be able to
Yeah.
still do this thing.
Yeah, health is the most important thing. There's no doubt about it. If you have your health, you got everything, and that's really at the end of the day all that matters. I'm super happy to hear that, you're all good and there wasn't anything, serious or even bad going on. So that's
Yeah.
thanks for kind
Thank you.
of talking about that, man.
Yeah.
As far as just kind of like maybe some of the things that you're getting into when you and the woman are just kind of hanging out, like any TV shows, any Netflix series, like give me a couple of things that you get into
Yeah.
outside of MMA.
Yeah, I guess I'm big into Netflix right now because it's my little downtime when I get home. I've been watching all kinds of documentaries. They just came out with that Osama bin Laden like manhunt thing. I just watched that. Couple of them. I'm into like all the murder documentaries. I don't know why. I'm interested in like these people like how do these people get the way they are, you know? I like the psychology behind it and stuff. And but other than that, man, yeah, I hang out with my friends at the motorcycle shop and just kick it with them. And man, it's just so much of my day is spent training and on the road training. Like before I popped on here, I was driving back from Stoughton, Mass, which is about an hour and a half from me. That's where I do my striking. I'm there 3 times a week. So yeah, do a lot of driving and stuff. So outside of that, man, I don't have much time for too much else, but yeah, just enjoying life, you know.
All right. Well, I'll send you some suggestions. I watch a lot of different
Appreciate
types
it.
of series with my wife. So, big movie TV guy. I'll give you some stuff to watch so you don't have to spend time looking for what the next series will be. Tell me just far a little bit about camp. Who specifically maybe have you been working with a little bit more to get you ready for well initially Chuka, but now Elijah.
Yeah, I was working with Joe Giannetti a little bit. I didn't have like it's tough to find guys kind of built. Chuka was kind of built like me a little bit, so it's tough to find those guys. But Giannetti was a decent look. Nick Fiore is always a good look, as far as the grappling goes. And then honestly, it hasn't changed too much for this guy. You know, he's a little shorter. I just went through a whole camp kind of preparing for a guy similar to Elijah. So kind of similar game plan, I guess. And he actually fought my teammate Chris Matinho last year, so been working with Chris. He came right to the gym as soon as we got this fight and kind of just gave me some good work and some advice and just his thoughts on it and stuff. So yeah, just everyone, man. I'm have my MMA gym. I'm at wrestling practices with guys who don't even do MMA. I'm just wrestling with and getting different looks from them. So everywhere, man. I'm just anyone who wants to provide a drop in the bucket is welcome, and I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I was going to mention Mutino because he actually TKO'd him in the third round when they fought. He must have had a lot of insight to give you. What kind of insight did he have? What did he tell you about this guy?
Yeah, they had a tough kind of scrap before Chris stopped him. I know, kind of if you go back and watch all this kid's fights, like you can't slouch. Like his record's maybe not the greatest. He's no slouch. I'm not sleeping on him. He comes out hot. He's put himself in advantageous positions every time he's fought. No matter who it is, he's fought some really good guys, and he's gotten to their backs. He gets them against the cage. He had Chris pinned up that first round. Had Chris against the cage for a long time. Chris's thoughts were, he's pretty strong. He was like, but obviously, like I think Chris was fighting up at 45, fighting this kid. He's kind of said that he's like, you're a lot bigger than me. You're gonna be a lot harder to take down. He's like, you hit a lot harder. But pretty much like the kid's there until he's not. He seems to fade a little bit on all his fights. He seems to gas out a bit. So I think it's just you got to weather that storm, be ready, and I'll match that, man. I think Don kind of tried to bring it to me right off the rip in that last fight, and we saw how that goes. I'm a dangerous guy to try and rush in on like that, and this kid wants to wrestle great. I welcome it. I really hope we get into some wrestling this time. I said that with Don. I wanted to wrestle, and it didn't end up happening. So maybe this kid will bring it out of me. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Chris was like pretty confident, in my ability to go stop this kid. He's like, just be ready to scrap with him for the first part of the fight.
Yeah, because his record 6-10 might not be a real accurate representation of just how good he is. I was looking at some of the guys he's lost to outside of Chris. He fought Anthony Romero, Richie
Yeah.
Miranda, and
Hmm.
Nazim Sadykhov. He went in there and fought
Yeah.
him as well. So the guy's been in there with some absolute beasts. Do you feel like even though his record is what it is, and he probably maybe feels extra pressure to go in there and win, he needs it. If he wants to, I mean, I don't know what his goals are at this point, but
Mhm.
do you think that he's going to feel because of the level of competition that he's shared the cage with previously, that he's going to go in there with a lot of confidence against you and what you bring?
I think guys like him don't show too much emotion or have too much to lose, and that's what makes them dangerous in a sense. I he's not going to be shook. You know what I mean? He's fought enough times. No, that's the one thing with these guys that you can't expect them to be like, show that they're scared or anything like that across the cage from you. You're gonna crack him and he's still gonna be there until he's not. But no, I don't think it's like added motivation for him. I think he's probably very similar. Like all fights are the same. That's why he takes these fights. He's not afraid to fight anyone. But I don't know. When you start taking like he just fought this past week, and I don't think he did too hot. And you're taking these quick turnaround. I don't know. It just I think we're just uh ambition wise in two different places, me and
Mm.
him. And I think guys like that look for the door a little sooner when it's presented to them. And I think you've seen that in his past fights. You can bring up the weight thing. Oh, did he get tired because he's cutting weight? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I think he knows that, and I think that's why he comes out so hot. Is he know he fades, and his past fights that he's lost that I've watched recently, I think he's lost a few in a row. It's been kind of like that same thing. He comes out hot, he's doing all right, and then he can't maintain that, and he kind of crumbles a little bit. So I'm a scary guy to fight if you get tired. I don't really fade that much, and I'm uh I'm good at putting you in some danger if you start getting tired. So I think it's gonna be very similar to Chris. I just think maybe a little different because of the size, and I think maybe I can do it a little sooner and really just drown this kid.
I did notice he doesn't have any TKO KO victories on the feet. All of his stoppages are on the ground, four submissions. He's also been subbed four times as well. But is that where he's
Yeah.
most dangerous? If this hits the mat, is how good is his jiu-jitsu compared to yours?
Yeah, I think most guys they go on Tapology, they take a fight with me, especially a guy like him who likes to wrestle and grab and they go, oh, this kid's just a striker. I'm gonna go in there and take him down, and maybe that's where his confidence came from to take this fight. But I think they get real discouraged when they realize how hard I am to keep there and how hard I am to wrestle with, and then, man, I think I can submit this kid too. I think yeah, man, I'm dangerous everywhere for him. Maybe that is his biggest threat. I think he's gonna get me to the cage at some point. I'm expecting that. Might even get taken down. You know what I mean? That's the game we play. I think guys get taken down, they freak out. I'm losing all this stuff. It's like that's the game we play. You're gonna get taken
Mhm.
down. You know what I mean? Your job is to keep working. So I think that's gonna be part of the thing that burns him out is his need to try and wrestle me and bring me to the ground. Yeah, he's been stopped four times on the feet. He's been stopped four times on the ground. I mean, you've been stopped eight times. That's I'm coming off fighting guys who've barely been stopped maybe once or twice. So I think I'm a dangerous guy to fight if you're showing chinks in the armor like that. And I do think I can get it done anywhere. I think I can put him on the ground and ragdoll him down there. I know he's going to be strong at first and harder to get there, but if he stands with me, I know how this is going. And he actually just fought bare knuckle in March and got a like 5 second knockout. So he can do it. Maybe he needs the gloves off to do it, but and the right opponent, I guess, to do it. I don't think the guy was the highest level fighter, but you got to respect everyone. He might not have a knockout yet, but you could be that one guy. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's 4 ounce gloves. You got to be careful. So I don't sleep on any one man in any element of fighting. Even Don, you could have looked at that and been like, he's gonna try and grapple you, but he could have caught me with something and knocked me out. And that night it was me who got him. So yeah, I'm just guy. I think I look at this guy. He's dangerous everywhere. His
Mhm.
biggest chance to win is everywhere, and I just gotta negate that. So yeah, not overthinking it. Just gonna go do what I always do.
Is it fair to say, though, that the biggest discrepancy in this fight might be standing, like with your ability to strike and your power and your length? Like that could be where you have the biggest advantage?
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I think I'm yeah, like you said, I just think I'm better there. I'm better, I think, than most guys on the regional scene when it comes to like the boxing and just understanding like the game we're playing on the feet. It's not to say I'm not going to get hit. He might catch me with something, and he throws hard. That's kind of the advice Chris gave. Like he's going to throw bombs, but it's all kind of single shots. And Chris moves with me all the time. He's like, you'll see it. Like guys who kind of sell out like that. I'm good at finding their chin and putting them down. So yeah, but I do think there is going to be a big gap there, and it's just going to be, like I said, kind of weathering that early storm and then just pick them apart and drown them. But and obviously in my head, I believe the discrepancy is everywhere. I think I
Mm.
have that same discrepancy on the ground, and maybe I get to show it if we get there. I think I can sub this kid off my back. I can sub it on top. Like I've made a lot of leaps in my game that just no one's brought out yet, and I've gotten to show, but they're there, and whenever if I got to use them, I'll use them. So, but yeah, I think I'll get it done on the feet for sure.
Do you have an official prediction you can give me? What round does the TKO come?
We'll see. This kid does a good job of making it out of the first. Like I said, he comes on hard, but um, When it happens, I know I give you the same answer every time you ask me this, and I just say when it happens, it happens. Because I try not to force it, man. Because that's when these guys, I think that's what makes him dangerous. Is you go watch all those really good guys he fought, and for one, it was kind of earlier in their careers, like Nazim. I watched that fight, and I couldn't believe that was Nazim fighting. I was like, oh my god, he looks. No offense, he looked kind of just. He would judge himself looking back, and he looked not great. Everyone goes for the highlight, and they force these things, and they like almost doing moves, and they put themselves in bad positions and give him a chance. They give up their back, like trying to throw a spinning move or something. Um, so I'm not that guy. I stick to the basics, and if he starts to fade open himself up, I can look for those bigger shots. But until he puts himself in a bad spot and wants to put himself out, that's when it'll come. But I'd say second round is a safe bet, second, third. But ideally, maybe it's like my last one and I do it and surprise myself in the first.
Well, Tom, once you get to the UFC, all your friends are going to be asking you, because they want to place some bets on DraftKings
Yeah,
and everything. So you're going to have to give them like a round and how you do it and
I
all that. So you
know,
got to
I
get used to
know.
it.
Hey, the way that UFC betting stuff's been going with guys getting involved in that, I'm keeping my hands clear of any advice when it comes to the betting.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, my man, I'm excited to see you back in there again, May the 31st, Combat Zone 88, main event. Tom Pagliarulo back in action, this time taking on Elijah Harris. Always great talking to you, buddy. Before we do sign off, I want to give you the floor as always. If you got anything you want to plug, any sponsors, anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks to my team, New England Cartel. My coaches have really been coming together for me this past year and really kind of making me a priority, and it feels good. I think we're gonna see the results in my work and just all my teammates showing up every day. They're selfless, even all the amateur guys showing up and just putting in the work so the room can grow as a whole and get that much better. All my sponsors, my wife, family, everyone, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you always giving me some shine and giving me some time to talk. And yeah, I'll see you on the 31st, man. I'm looking forward to it.